So let's talk about rock and wrestling and Cyndi Lauper because she was a big part of this early growth spurt from the company. And right in the middle of all of it, Hulk Hogan and Roddy Piper. It seems like these guys were destined to finally have a match, but they don't touch for nearly a year, and it finally happens at the War to Settle the Score. I think it's still a cable rating to this day. It does a 9.1. Huge business and a huge attraction that sort of sets up WrestleMania. How big of a deal was rock and wrestling and Cyndi's contribution to the early days here of the company's success?
I think that the company kind of hitching its wagon to Cyndi Lauper and, of course, MTV at the time, which was brand new. And MTV was the young hip channel. That's what all the kids were talking about and everybody was watching. Cyndi Lauper was the hottest pop act in the world. So the fact that Cyndi was working with them, with Dave Wolf, her manager, Captain Lou Albano was in the Cyndi Lauper Girls Just Want to Have Fun video, which seemed to play every 15 minutes on MTV. So there was recognition. All of a sudden, WWE stars are being seen on MTV a lot, doing a lot of things. The Rock and Wrestling connection, you got to throw Wendy Richter in there as well, her teaming up with Cyndi Lauper. But Piper and Hogan and the War to Settle the Score on MTV live, you had Dick Clark involved, you had Bob Costas involved. It was a spectacle. Everybody was talking about it. And while people were whispering, oh, it's that wrestling stuff, you can only take that so seriously, everybody's talking about it. So now Roddy Piper and Hulk Hogan are becoming household names in that, hey, did you see what happened? They're playing clippets of it on the news everywhere about in Madison Square Garden tonight, Rowdy Roddy Piper and Hulk Hogan faced off. I'm on the outside looking in. I'm in Houston working with Bill Watts and Paul Bosch, running our wrestling promotion. And we're looking at this attention, and this is terrible for wrestling. We don't want to be associated with rock and roll and all that nonsense. But they were exposing it to more eyeballs than had ever seen the product before, and it was genius.
At the time, even now, it's still pretty controversial to have a man do something with a woman like this on camera. Intergender matches are really the talk of the internet these days about should they or shouldn't they. But here where we're doing, promos with Roddy Piper threatening to do something to Cyndi, this was real heat in the mid-'80s, was it not?
Well, it wasn't just threatening to strike a female. It was threatening to strike the female that is leading the women's revolution at the time. Cyndi Lauper represented the female population at the time with all the kids, the young girls, and she was leading a movement. So slapping Cyndi Lauper, or threatening to, is basically saying you're slapping everyone that's involved in that movement, everyone that supports Cyndi Lauper. And that was the message, and that was the tone that Roddy was trying to get across. And it was heat, and it's definitely not something that you get away with today. At least I don't think, and I don't think it'd be in good taste today. Then, a little different. Society was a little bit different.